I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? They used to say one thing. Now they're not getting what they want. The Biden agenda is stalled. The guy's got nothing to show for a year in office except a lot of bad decision making and inflation. So do you think there's any real chance that they manage to get this one, they say one-time exception to the filibuster to pass voting rights?
Well, Manchin said yesterday that he will not vote to end the filibuster. I think Sinema's in kind of the same camp as Manchin, at least so she's been mentioned as well with him. Without that vote, they're not going to be able to get it done, but they're going to force the vote on all of their Democratic colleagues when like 90% of them have said that they wouldn't eliminate the filibuster. There was a whole series of different quotes on television that were all put together of different Democrats saying, I would never vote to do away with the filibuster. It's a power grab, kind of similar things that Biden just said in that clip that you aired. And so they would be going against exactly what they said, simply for exactly what Biden said, for power. They can't get what they want to get done with 60 votes, so they're going to try to shepherd stuff through while they have the House and the Senate and the White House.
What are some of the things, they always talk about this as though, and Biden's quite explicit about it in the speech he gave, it's like it's 1960 or something all over again, and there's all these, of course, the segregationists were Democrats, and they forget all about this, but let's just put that aside for a second, the rewriting of history. They tell us now that Republicans standing in the way of any of the changes they want to make through either the John Lewis Voting Rights Act or the For the People Act, which is the much bigger and more all-encompassing version of the legislation they want. What are some of the things, what's really at issue here? What are some of the things Democrats are trying to slam through and say that it's all about protecting our sacred democracy, whatever that means?
Well, here's some of the biggest parts of it. The first is it does away with voter ID laws in states like Florida. There's 27 states that require voter ID in order to vote. Just like Democrats want vaccine mandates and you to show a voter identification or a vaccine card to get into a restaurant, Republicans think it's required that you should be a citizen and eligible voter and a resident of the state that you're voting. To prove that, you need a driver's license or some form of ID. So that's the first thing they want to do, is do away with any form of identification in order to vote. So that's part of that. And what they're doing is they're federalizing a voting system that would do away with all of these different states' models. Like Florida has voter ID, Florida has absentee voting, but you have to do all these processes and procedures and protections in place to ensure the sanctity of the vote. They want to do away with all that. And their next step is to give illegal immigrants who have no status in this country whatsoever the ability to vote. You're already seeing cities like New York City and other big cities like that pass laws that now 700,000 illegal immigrants in New York City can now vote in their elections. That's the direction that they want to go. They want to you want to talk about not having democracy and not having a federalist form of government. That's what they want to do away with, because they want to embolden their power. They know the illegal immigrants are going to vote for them. They know if there's no voter ID that allows people to use mail-in ballots with no verification, you have no idea where they're coming from. It just elicits fraud all across the board.